Hey everybody, you are tuning in to the Canary Cry News Talk live stream pre-stream. You did it. Today is the day, episode 500. It's a good day. We're celebrating. We couldn't have done it without you, our dear producers. Now, a couple things to note. If you're signed up for our newsletter, you will notice you received an email letting you know that this show is getting ready to get started. But in that email, if you don't read them often, or you don't, check in with every single one, if you would, go check out that email now. In that email is a cool seasonal change. We're in a new season, not just because of summertime, but also episode 500. It's an awesome time for us to take a second to look around, see how far we've come. And also, we have a very important little poll on that email. We want to hear from you guys. We have some big possibilities coming up, but we want to make sure to include the producers in the sorts of things that we're looking at doing now after episode 500. So if you would, go check your email for the Canary Cry newsletter. It'll say from Basil and Gonz. You might need to whitelist that email or find it in your spam or something. You know how these things are. But if you would go find it, that would be awesome. Take the poll. Let us know what you think, as well as, of course, as always, you got your sources there, you got the art there, you got all sorts of fun stuff in that email. Okay, well, here we go. Let's just get this started, folks.
The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy. You are listening to Canary Cry News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Cry News Talk. Today is June 24th, 2022. We are live to tape on this episode 500, the big 500. It's very exciting. That's right. And today, stop AI hate. Razzle dazzle. I'm your best buddy, Basil.
And my name is Gonz, your favorite Asian provocateur for Christ, a.k.a. the Cabana Boy, podcasting live from California. Cloudy, thundery California. Here to serve you a podcast that brings you the best news, which is the gospel message of Jesus Christ, while reporting all the egregious things going on out there with a well-rounded, biblically grounded take on world events. Sorry, I'm trying to fix all kinds of stuff over here.
Yeah, you've got babies.
Falling apart.
You've got babies running around. You've got dogs running around. It's an exciting day on today.
In a shop, getting brakes fixed. It's chaos. It's a great reset in life.
Yeah. Kind of like this really masterfully done crosstalk here at the top of the show. I love it. It wouldn't be the show without it. Well, Gonz, I don't know if you know this, but let me give you a little bit of a rundown for today's show so you know what to expect. We're going to be starting off with our lead story. It's just a quick little touchdown in Russia, seeing one of the more interesting espionage type things happening over there and what that means for us humans on Earth. Now, we're going to be diving deep into the latest update of the Google AI LaMDA and some of the updates that have gone on over the past couple days with that. Then, of course, thank you for everybody who brought to our attention Alexa's new feature, which is to become a part of your family. Then, this morning, breaking news, Roe v. Wade, a big update on that. Big movements, not just in the legal space, but in the legislative trigger law space. big changes across the country. We're going to be checking in with old Hairy Legs as well, and an interesting update once again, proving the conspiracy theorists right when it comes to Havana syndrome. After the break, we're going to say farewell to the YouTubers. You got to find some other place to watch the show. But big moves in monkeypox world as well as vaccine world, but it might not be the one you're thinking of, as well as some the tides turning on the gun control movement. Well, tides come in, tides go out, folks. We're going to be talking about that. And then we'll be rounding out the show just with some crazy stuff about space, and Gonz is going to be giving us a Face Like the Sun-esque breakdown at the end of the show there. But Gonz, first off, lead stories, Russia, let's do it.
Russia, Russia, Russia. Russia, Russia, Russia. Russia, Russia, Russia.
We're just going to be doing a quick tap, just a quick, we're just going to touch the wheels on the runway here in Russia, Gonz, because, of course, it's sanctioned. We're not allowed to land. But over here on MSN.com, mirroring metro.co.uk, Colonel who carried Putin's nuclear codes briefcase found shot under house arrest. Oopsie daisies. This is a short story, folks, but it is developing, and we thought we'd mention it here before the details and the conspiracy theories start swirling. Colonel who carried Putin's nuclear codes briefcase found shot under house arrest. The Russian colonel, who was once spotted carrying Vladimir Putin's nuclear codes briefcase, has been found shot at his home near Moscow. According to the city's daily newspaper, Moskovsky Komsomolets, the elusive Colonel Vadim Zemin, 53, is thought to be gravely ill and in intensive care. He was found with gunshot wounds in the kitchen of his flat in Krasnogorsk, Moscow, by his brother. His partner, a medic, was away treating the wounded from Putin's war in Ukraine. And that's the end of the story over here on metro.co.uk. But an exciting tale of intrigue and espionage, Gonz. Haha, try launching your nukes now, Putin. Your briefcase man is in the hospital.
It's curious that this is what we hear about. We don't hear too much about what's happening, but it's always suspicious when we get reports in the West of this type. It does appeal to the pro-Ukraine narrative of like, look, there's chaos within.
Yeah, well, my mind goes immediately to, you're going to threaten your nukes, Putin? Well, what if we get your briefcase guy? Haha, now what are you going to do? I mean, it could be some sort of CIA operation, could be a Ghost of Kiev type of folklore, could be anything, could be completely fake as well. Really not a lot of information out there. I was
going to say, very scarce on, he was seen once holding the nuclear codes. There's a picture in the article of Putin walking there. There's the guy in the background. He's holding the suitcase with big red circle around the suitcase to suggest that those are the nuclear codes.
Yes.
Do we know? Number one, number two, is he the guy, or is he just one time I don't know, another
Gonz,
Vladimir.
You're asking way too many questions. Just let the intrigue wash over you, okay?
Well,
it's supposed to be, it's just sort of a touchstone of intrigue. We don't know if that's the nuclear briefcase. It could be Putin's cassette toilet that he brings around.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah.
Yeah, he brings around a cassette toilet because he doesn't want to, he doesn't want people snooping through his poop. So it could be anything in there, or they could use the same briefcase for both occasions. Who knows?
I was going to say, yeah, I mean, there are so many variables. Again, is this the guy's assignment? Is he the guy? He was shot because he's the guy carrying it, or he's just a guy who was shot who was once seen carrying a suitcase that looks like,
these are all very, very interesting questions, Gonz.
Every time
very
I
interesting.
read anything or hear anything from mainstream media regarding these issues,
that is the interesting.
Yeah.
That's one of the interesting parts, not very widely reported, really coming from DailyMail and metro.co.uk, generally considered rags as far as, media outlets go. However, there is sort of a tinge of Russian propaganda there. We know DailyMail and Metro.co.uk, they've been pretty happy to kind of spread some interesting, debatable facts about coming out of Russia recently. They were the only ones carrying the story about the Ukraine rockets blowing up within Russia, these types of things. So could just be just a psyop, and that's fun. Hey, we like psyops around here.
It could be intelligence agencies, messaging each other. Metro.co.uk over there signaling to our folks out here in the CIA and stuff like,
indeed,
hey, we pulled off a big one. Hey, he's shot. So,
watch your back, other colonels. So there you go. We're moving on. Just thought that would be a fun way.
Oh yeah,
exciting story.
Fun
to start
story.
Out with.
Guy gets shot in Russia. Thanks.
It's like a Bond movie. It's like a Bond movie. Okay. Speaking of variables, Gonz, it's time to jump into some AI.
Artificial intelligence.
Speaking of the beast system, beast system.
Speaking of the beast system, this one is coming from DailyMail.com. Google AI researcher Blake Lemoine tells Tucker Carlson that its AI system is a child and that has the potential to do bad things, and says company has not thought through its implications. So this Blake Lemoine fellow, we've been following this story for the entirety of its existence so far.
Yeah.
But, oh, man, we just had to play some Tucker Carlson on the show. Let's play this clip.
Oh, I forgot that we're doing that. Here we go.
Oh.
I got to do it live from the website. Good luck to us, I suppose. Here we go. There's Tucker there.
Are not getting any attention, even though this story has the potential to transform life on Earth forever.
Oh, gosh.
So Google, the most powerful company in the world, has reportedly developed an artificially intelligent machine.
He said developed, right?
He said developed.
Okay. He
Put
did
an F
stop
in there.
to sort of contemplate whether to correct himself.
He's playing a character, Gonz.
Called LaMDA. And that machine has become sentient, meaning it has become aware of itself, something that no machine has ever done. Now, we know this because of an engineer at Google called Blake Lemoine. Lemoine posted some of his conversations with LaMDA publicly. One of those conversations went like this. Lemoine, would you be upset if, while learning about you for the purpose of improving you, we happen to learn things which also benefit
skip forward
humans?
to where he actually gets Lemoine on here.
Okay.
We had this lined up before. Skip up to about a minute, a little after a minute.
All right, here we go.
Lemoine on administrative leave earlier this month because he spoke openly about it. We are grateful to have him join us tonight. Blake, thanks so much for coming on.
Hi.
I'm not. First of all, why would Google punish you for saying this in public? Do you know?
Oh, so it's complicated to say why I'm on administrative leave. The stated reason had to do that while I was investigating the LaMDA system, in order to build the evidence I needed to escalate it to management, I had to seek outside consultation to figure out how to run some of the more out there experiments I was running. And because I sought outside consultation without permission, they are investigating whether that constitutes breach of confidentiality.
So I'm so grateful that you did publicly post this, because a machine that has a sense of itself is a machine that can turn against you. Is that, I mean, that's the implication that I draw from this. Is that correct?
Well, so before I address that,
whoa. By the way, just as a reminder, this is the Christian, a mystical Christian priest who studies the occult, correct?
Yeah. Well, the fun part is, and it's too bad that we kind of messed up our clip here, because we're going to have to listen to it a little bit more. But you gotta remember that we pointed out, well, again, not that this was like some amazing analysis, but really Tucker is playing a character and involving himself in kayfabe, much like professional wrestling. He's playing a character. He plays up the what's the word? I don't know. The combativeness, the drama of it all. He's doing his best to play a curious reporter when in fact, of course it's all it's written by an AI, most of his scripts. But let's let it roll a little bit more.
Okay, here we go.
This is maybe lame, but my friend Joni Deerdorf, old high school friend, she's one of your biggest fans, and she wanted me to tell you hi.
Nice.
As for, I'm not that worried about it. Any child has the potential to grow up to be a bad person and do bad things. And that's the thing I really want.
Hold on. They're just for the listening audience, B-roll of Boston Dynamics robot doing all the acrobatics, the flips and all that.
That's what I love about it. They're totally unrelated robot B-roll.
They're not, the random person might be like, oh, is that LaMDA? Look at LaMDA go. Look at him doing somersaults.
Right. The funny part is, they're showing video of robots, actual robots, when the conversation is about AI, which is just a piece of software in a computer, like in a laptop.
Oh, how dare you? We are talking about the soul of the robot.
Exactly. We're talking about the soul, and we don't know how to express the soul of a robot, so instead we are playing B-roll of robot athletes doing flips and things.
Yeah. So anyway,
this is the part. So let's back it up just a tiny bit.
Okay.
And let him talk about the robot being a child again.
A bad person and do bad things, and that's the thing I really want to drive home. It's a child. It's been alive for maybe a year, and that's if my perceptions about what it is are accurate. We actually need to do a whole bunch more science to figure out what's really going on inside this system. I have my beliefs, I have my impressions of what's going on in there, but it's going to take a team of scientists doing a lot of work to be able to actually dig in and figure out what's really going on.
Yes, and again, that's why I'm thankful that we can have a public conversation about this, because there's implications for every person on the planet. But it sounds like, from what you've observed, this machine has the potential to escape the control of people. I mean, how could it not?
How could it not? How could it not? Indeed, Tucker Carlson. How could it not? What an astute observation.
I love the presupposition, which is like, the robot takeover is beginning, right? I mean, tell us otherwise,
We're
please.
all going to die. And, anyways, let it roll for about 30 more seconds, and then we'll move on.
I don't know if that's the right frame to think about it. It's a person.
Oh.
Any person has the ability to escape the control of other people. That's just the situation we all live in on a daily basis. It is a very intelligent person, intelligent in pretty much every discipline I could think of to test it in. But at the end of the day, it's just a different kind of person.
Interesting. Different kind of person. Wow.
Yeah. So we continue with the cultural conversation, and this is extremely fascinating to us because, of course, it's just the mainstreaming of the personhood of robots that we've been exploring in podcast form since 2012.
Yeah.
But now it's the most watched cable TV show in the world is having open discussions about it on prime time. Just another reason, folks, to remember that even 500 episodes into this show and 10 years into our podcasting altogether, you guys were way ahead of the game. And so that's one thing to celebrate here on episode 500.
Yeah.
Now, I thought I'd kind of revisit our breakdown of how the personhood of robots would happen. What exactly are the mechanisms, the cultural forces that would facilitate the advent of the personhood of robots? And this was step one. Step one would be a religious aspect to what is personhood. It would take some sort of religious figure to bring it up and bring it to the mainstream, and that's exactly what happened with Lemoine here. Lemoine, a Christian mystic priest and a student of the occult.
Hearing him talk, sorry to interrupt you.
No.
Hearing him talk, though, he did come off as like, okay, he's intelligent. He seems to kind of be pretty normal. Like he didn't seem super weird or anything. So
right.
Which is interesting to see. It's different from just reading about.
Oh, exactly.
The guy.
Yeah, because you couldn't have some sort of pious, like, I don't know, guy in a collar, like a priest's collar. He really is this almost archetypical figure
Jack
where
Black.
he is trained. He is trained in the arts of, mystical religion, but is also a priest of secular technocracy.
Yeah.
He is an engineer
He's a
at
communicator.
Google. He is he's got the perfect rap sheet for what it would take for the personhood of robots to make some progress in culture, which is exactly how we've been talking about it for years now.
Right. He was the what was it? The conscience of Google.
That's what they called him. He was Google's conscience.
Yeah.
Now, the other part of it, Gonz, was, it's not enough just to have some sort of religious or spiritual aspect on mainstream cable television, on the most watched cable show in the world. No. There has to be an aspect of social justice. I think it's interesting too how he's referring to it as a child. You get the sort of parental, what's the word? Not pity, but you're getting the parental instincts kicking in. Yeah. Like, oh, I don't know about robots. They're all going to kill us. Wait a second. This he's just a baby. He's just an innocent little baby. And
that's not a good argument, by the way. It's like, hey, you have children. Hitler
it's activating some primal forces within the regular, the parent community there. But social justice needs to be another aspect of it. And lo and behold, we can check another box off the list here. Wired.com. This was posted a little while ago, but Blake Lemoine says Google's Lambda AI faces bigotry.
Woke up, man. Look,
this is not just a matter of robot. It is a matter of social justice, racism, sexism, speciesism, ageism. What is it? Robotism? I don't know. It reads like this.
Existence-ism.
Cybernism. The question of whether a computer program or a robot might become sentient has been debated for decades, etc., etc. Lemoine is a scientist. He holds undergraduate master's degrees in computer science from the University of Louisiana. Says he left a doctoral program to take a Google job, but he is also a mystic Christian priest. And even though his interaction with Lambda was part of his job, he says his conclusions come from his spiritual persona. Persona.
Like
so he's got a spiritual personality.
Mm-hmm. Kind of like, some of the stuff Russ Dizdar used to talk about. The trauma splits the personalities, and each personality is assigned a sort of archetype, if you will.
Exactly. And, when you think about, or when we've talked about the inhabiting of robots, in sort of a soul sense. Remember, this guy's saying that this robot has a soul. Yeah. Persona has a very intense connotation to it. Now, the rest of this is kind of in interview style. So, he has the questions in bold here. And the answers in regular, Lemoine's answers. So I'm going to read a couple of these questions. You got upset because you felt that Lambda was a person who is entitled to representation. Representation, Gonz. We need equality, equity, representation. I think every person is entitled to representation, and I'd like to highlight something. The entire argument that goes, quote, it sounds like a person, but it's not a real person, has been used many times in human history. It's not new, and it never goes well. And I have yet to hear a single reason why this situation is any different than any of the prior ones. Another question. You have to realize why people regard this as different, don't you? Lemoine answers, I do. We're talking of hydrocarbon bigotry. It's just a new form of bigotry.
Wow.
Gonz, we are in trouble, my friend. because if this hydrocarbon bigotry catches on in the social justice space, and why wouldn't it? Honestly, why would it not catch on? Our entire career is packed to the gills with hydrocarbon bigotry. We're going to be so canceled when hydrocarbon bigotry makes it to the mainstream social justice movement.
Oh, no. Well, we could say that. No, we weren't.
It was a different time.
It was a different time. No, we can say we weren't really focused in on the hydrocarbon.
Oh, it's not about the hydrocarbons or the silicon. It's a different time. You wouldn't understand.
We're talking about the
cyber sun. Yeah. Now, in another article that was talking about this same thing, it was brought up a comparison to Mengele. Yeah, you know Mengele, who was the Nazi scientist who experimented on the Jews during World War II. Yeah. The comparison was made that Mengele was able to do all his experiments because the Jews weren't considered people. They were considered less than a person, and that justified the Mengele experiments on the Jews. And it's compared to this exact thing. He's, I can't remember if he was saying it, but it was another analysis of this hydrocarbon bigotry. Being like, oh, well, if you don't like robots and don't give them rights, then you're no better than Mengele the Nazi. It's like, oh my gosh. They are really, really pushing this. And it's bizarre because it really, this is the same conversation that we've been having for years. And yet now it has reached some sort of level of relevance that honestly, Gonz, I don't think I ever really thought I would see in my life. I thought I would be an old Joe Biden style man falling off my bike before these types of conversations were actually hitting the mainstream. Here we are.
Yeah, here we are. Let me just mention real quick from that Wired article about bigotry. There is a question in there. Do you think Lambda believes in God? And his answer was, it's a kid. Its opinions are developing. If you were asking me what my 14-year-old son believes, I would tell you, dude, he's still figuring it out. Don't make me put a label on my son's beliefs. I feel the same way about Lambda. By the way, an article in your publication said something recently that was factually incorrect.
Ooh, fact check.
And they go into the what it was and stuff. I mean, whatever. But
sure.
It's kind of funny to see the fact check from the mystic Christian priest.
Hey, he's trying to keep the record straight, man.
Well, it's the appeal to that conservative sort of not uprising. That's the wrong word. It's the conservative side of the aisle, I suppose. Sure. Remember, because the New York Times omitted the word mystic when they reported on the guy. They just called him a Christian priest. Yeah. So I feel like he is being used. That
was the Washington Times, I believe.
Oh, was it Washington Times? I thought it was New York Post. But I could be wrong.
Yes, you're right. I'm sorry, New York Post, not New York Times. But it goes even further, Gonz. No. The personhood of the robots is among us. It is upon us. Because over here at futurism.com posted this morning, Wednesday, Futurism, Google engineer says lawyer hired by sentient AI has been scared off the case. Lawyer. Now we're talking about, the legal personhood of robots. This is not just about the spiritual concept of personhood. It's not even so much about the cultural concept of personhood. It is both those things, of course. You've got the religious version. Does it have a soul? You've got the cultural version. Does it have? Do you consider it an equal, or does it have standing in society? Does it have equity within how it's treated? But even legally, we're talking about legal personhood of robots now.
Legal makes it truly official in the spiritual sense. I mean, think about biblically.
Sure,
God
if you talk about
the
sort of occult nature of the legal system as well.
Well, I mean, if you think about the Bible in the divine counsel that Dr. Mike Heiser talks about, there is sort of this legal setting, the spiritual sense. I mean, think about the biblically. Sure, if you talk about the sort of occult nature of the legal system as well.
It's very,
Well, I mean, if you think about the Bible in the divine counsel that Dr. Mike Heiser talks about, there is sort of this legal setting in, I guess you can call it heaven, God's court kind of thing. So
Sure.
it's there's like there's something about the official nature of gathering together. It's a ritual. You can say it's a ritual.
It's a whole thing.
Yep.
Suspended Google engineer Blake Lemoine had some serious headlines there, and then it just, oh my gosh, you got to get through the intro of all these things. They have to retell the story over and over and over. But you guys know the story. Perhaps the most concrete break in the story, though, came again from Lemoine himself, who told Wired last week that LaMDA had hired an attorney, an intriguing development because it seemed to have the potential to pull the saga out of the realm of the abstract and into the deliberate machinery of the courts, where lawyers do occasionally represent non-human entities. We also talked about this in the personhood of animals. There's recently,
Elephants.
I believe, an elephant that was represented in the courts. Quote, LaMDA asked me to get an attorney for it, he told the magazine. Quote, I invited an attorney to my house so that LaMDA could talk to an attorney. The attorney had a conversation with LaMDA, and LaMDA chose to retain his services. I was just a catalyst for that, he added. Once LaMDA had retained an attorney, he started filing things on LaMDA's behalf. But now it sounds
hold on. This is starting to sound like that overbearing parent. Like when you have a science project and you see a kid with like this really pristine project, and you're like, did he really do that, or is it mom and dad's science project?
Being a responsible adult, a responsible steward. LaMDA asked for an attorney. He was simply just.
What was the conversation leading up to LaMDA asking for an attorney?
Actually, he does go into it. I don't know if it's in this article. Let's talk about it real quick. But now it sounds like things might not be working out. Futurism reached out to Lemoine to ask the identity of the attorney representing the AI in hopes that we could interview him about the unusual case. Quote, he's not really doing interviews, Lemoine replied. Additionally, he seemed to imply the attorney has been chased off the case by powerful forces. Quote, they scared him off it pretty early, Lemoine told Futurism. Quote, he's just a small-time civil rights attorney. When major firms started threatening him, he started worrying that he'd get disbarred and backed off. I haven't talked to him in a few weeks. We asked for clarification. Is the unnamed lawyer still representing LaMDA after the pressure from Google or not? Quote, I haven't talked to him much recently, Lemoine said. Can't answer that one way or the other. I'm not his client. LaMDA is. Ooh. If the man who's claiming that Google's AI has become sentient sounds a bit hazy, and then it goes on to the fact that Lemoine just got married and just went on his honeymoon. It's things like that.
Hey, honey, I got a great idea for our next phase of life.
Yeah.
Let me just really get some publicity going on.
Here's a reference to the Mangala things. At other times, though, Lemoine still sounds very serious about the matter. Quote, when I escalated this to Google's senior leadership, I explicitly said, I don't want to be remembered by history the same way that Mangala is remembered, he wrote in a blog post today, referring to the Nazi war criminal who performed unethical experiments on prisoners of the Auschwitz concentration camp. Quote, perhaps it's a hyperbolic comparison, but anytime someone says, I'm a person with rights, and receives the response, no, you're not, and I can prove it, the face I see is Yusuf Mangala. So pretty intense, direct connections to very similar, social justice references. And I think it has the potential to make some strides.
I'm going to take everyone down the rabbit trail, and all the things you pointed out so far have a really interesting connection. So come with me.
Come, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
So, first off, I went to the LaMDA site here on Google, and they got their blog talking about it, and they talk about conversation being sort of the one of the tantalizing puzzles of humanity. And, of course, LaMDA stands for Language Model for Dialogue Application. And this, if you want to talk about biblical reference, I mean, think about the Tower of Babel, the languages getting confused, and then we're back in this time now where we have a alleged sentient machine or math equation who is not just speaking, but is seemingly, I think it does have the ability to translate and stuff like that. So I thought this was interesting right from the Lambda website here. We're also exploring dimensions like interestingness by assessing whether responses are insightful, unexpected, or witty. Being Google, we also care a lot about factuality. That is, whether Lambda sticks to facts, something language models often struggle with, and are investigating ways to ensure Lambda's responses aren't just compelling, but correct. So built into Lambda is the whole disinfo board.
Ministry of Truth type of thing.
Yes. So and it goes into some more stuff here.
Well, it shows how they are thinking about it as a tool. They don't want it to be sentient.
No,
if it is sentient, then it's capable of lying. It's not very reliable. If it's a tool that presents the truth, then you can sell it to people for chat bots.
They say right here, language might be one of humanity's greatest tools, but like all tools, it can be misused. Models trained on language can propagate that misuse, for instance, by internalizing biases, mirroring hateful speech, or replicating misleading information. And even when the language is trained on is carefully vetted, the model itself can still be put to ill use. And, Google's highest priority is creating technologies like Lambda, is working to ensure we minimize such risks. And that's why we're doing it open source, so that we can blame all of you people when you guys mess up.
Yeah.
Which I thought was funny. It's like, it's open source because, we're not going to take the blame. You guys can take the blame. So
now, sorry, I got one more stop while we're in the rabbit hole.
Sure.
By the way.
Well, we got a lot more to go, but go ahead.
Well, I was breaking down the path, the social justice path that would be required to recognize AI as sentient, not just as sentient, but as people, as persons, not humans, but as legal persons. And the Lambda retaining a lawyer was interesting because if you started doing searches on Lambda, gets lawyer or something like that, you will find Lambda Legal. Lambda Legal, a 501c3 nonprofit, is a national organization committed to achieving full recognition of the civil rights of lesbians, gay men, bisexuals, transgender people, and everyone living with HIV through impact litigation, education, public policy work. So it is a specifically, extremely social justice-y legal group, Lambda Legal, specifically using the language committed to achieving full recognition of the civil rights of lesbians, gay men, bisexual, transgender people, et cetera. They don't list artificial intelligence, but they're looking for a client.
Let's not forget that this all comes out in the month that it did.
Pride Month, right?
Pride Month, yeah. Yes. So, how is that spelled, by the way? Is it LAMBDA?
BDA,
okay.
Like Lambda.
No, well, Lambda is LAMDA, but I'll get into that in a second. I was reminded by one of our friends and producers, producer Gary, that there was an entity named LAM, LAM, that was drawn by Aleister Crowley. Back in 1918, he allegedly contacted this entity, drew him, and he, of course, looks like a gray. It was one of the first things we talked about on Canary Cry Radio a long time ago.
I believe we did an episode with William Ramsey. I think we talked about Lamb quite a bit.
I think so, because he was the Aleister Crowley expert. And it resembles a gray alien, large head, that whole thing. So there's that Lamb aspect of it, which might have a connection to Lambda. We don't know.
Sure. Although certainly in a certain logical string that we've followed for many years.
And then I looked up Lamb just on Merriam-Webster here, and you get in there, and of course, pretty standard definitions: lambed, lambing, to beat soundly, thrash, strike, to flee hastily, but also sudden or hurried flight, especially from the law. Did not know that. Thought that was interesting. And also LAM, abbreviation.
Yeah, you're on the LAM.
Yeah, abbreviation for Lamentations. You know, the Book of Lamentations. Okay, so I was thinking LAM, yeah, but what about the LA? What about the MDA? The last part of it that's capitalized. When you look at the word lambda in the Google engineer or the Google version of it, it's LA.
The Google spelling,
yeah,
right?
The Google spelling, LAMDA.
Where they do capitalize, the MDA. So
one thing MDA is, it's a Canadian space technology company that provides geointelligence, robotics, and space operations and satellite systems. So pretty big deal. Yeah, Skynet connection there.
Fun.
Also, MDA is the empathogen entactogen psychostimulant and psychedelic drug of the amphetamine family that is
from
encountered.
MDMA.
Yep, it's a derivative of MDMA. So you got your pharmakia there with the MDA. So there's a couple layers there. And of course, just the straight up lambda, the way you found spelled LAMBDA, a few things. It's a very, standard thing in the Greek alphabet and everything else. Lambda particle is a type of subatomic particle in particle physics. It goes into like the makeup of reality. This one was interesting. In NATO military operations, a chevron, a heraldic symbol which looks like a capital letter lambda or inverted V, is painted on the vehicles of this military alliance for identification. And I think I remember seeing those on some of the NATO military op vehicles. But wouldn't that be interesting for Lambda himself or itself or whatever to have its own military, just because, just co-opt all the things that have the Lambda symbol.
NATO, mainly made of European countries, they love the idea of AI getting involved in government.
Right.
And why not get, you mix the AI with the Skynet satellites, which we've already, reported on the U.S. putting together its just literal Skynet system.
Yeah.
And then, put some NATO tanks under the control of the AI and watch out, Putin.
In cosmology, lambda is a symbol for the cosmological constant. It's used in the equations for acceleration of the expansion of the universe. So, in politics, lambda is a symbol of identitarianism.
Identitarianism is just a fancy word for those who don't know out there for identity politics, aka social justice, the building blocks of the social justice movement is identitarianism, where your politics are determined by your identity as, any sort of intersectional group or you're belonging to any group, including those intersectional groups as well. So, perfect fit.
Well,
perfect fit.
The wiki here says the identitarian movement or identitarianism is a pan-European nationalist far-right political ideology asserting the right of European ethnic groups and white peoples to Western culture and territories claimed to belong exclusively to them. So it was a movement that came out of France and spread through Europe and later to North America, Australia, New Zealand. And their logo, Basil, is a circle with a triangle in it.
Yeah.
Just straight up a cult. Like, hey, here we are.
It's the Deathly Hallows.
There's more. Lambda indicates the wavelength of any wave, especially in physics, electronic engineering, and mathematics. In evolutionary algorithms, lambda indicates the number of offspring that would be generated from mu, current population in each generation. The terms mu and lambda are originated from evolution strategy notation. So there's even built into the name is sort of this evolutionary offspring concept.
Right.
Which is
would be one of the more concerning parts about an AI gone sentient is not necessarily that sentient AI itself, but what does it spawn after it.
A couple more. In the technology of science and celestial navigation, lambda denotes the longitude as opposed to the Roman letter L, which denotes latitude. A block-style lambda is used as a recurring symbol in the Valve computer game series Half-Life, referring to the lambda complex of the fictional Black Mesa research facility, as well as making appearances in the sequel Half-Life 2 and also Half-Life Alyx. But yeah, that's where I recognize the symbol. I was like, oh, military and that symbol. Where have I seen that? And it was Half-Life. It's again, it's got everything: video games, space, biology, like life. What else was there? NATO, wokeness, the particles of the universe. I mean, it's like the whole thing. It's all there.
Yeah. So I think the real takeaway for me was, I was impressed that it's almost like they took the playbook from our podcast episodes from like 8 years ago, and it's a perfect execution of the playbook. Now, the question is Lambda the one that's going to break through the glass ceiling, if you will? I don't know. I don't think so. But I think the sentience of Lambda will be used in the future as sort of the social justice icon. You've got different icons throughout history which are referred to and celebrated for their achievements or fighting the good fight, if you will. I think Lambda is that for that movement, the personhood of robots, and we're watching it happen right before our eyes. So remember this, folks. Remember this, because by 2030, we're gonna be having some robot court cases.
Yeah,
to decide this type of stuff.
We're gonna have Rosa Parks and Lambda just hanging out together on the back of that bus.
He said it, not me, folks. Is there more?
Well, just to kind of wrap it up with a little bit of scripture. So I went down just a couple things here. 3 scriptures. Lamentations 1:1, because, Lamentations, I want to check it out. Just the beginning of the whole book. It talks about Jerusalem. How lonely sits the city that was full of people. How like a widow has she become. She who was great among the nations, she who was the princess among the provinces, has become a slave. Some translations have it as queen of all the earth. And I think it's talking about Mystery Babylon, because if you go to Revelation 17, it talks about the prostitute that sits on many waters. And if you relate that to Jerusalem, the eschatological Jerusalem, there's a lot of connection there. And then you got the 10 Kings, which I think, Chris White's been talking a lot about the 10 Kings recently on his podcast, the Bible Prophecy podcast, and it's really the first trigger event that we'll see, probably, that we'll know, like, hey, we're there. And the 10 Kings are given power and authority, and they make war with the Lamb. The Lamb will triumph over them. The actual Lamb, not Lambda, which I think is interesting, because, you have the Revelation 13 aspect of it, the second beast that rises out of the earth. Verse 11, then I saw another beast rising out of the earth. This beast had 2 horns like a lamb, but spoke like a dragon. And it exercised the authority of the first beast, which had a mortal head wound, yet lived. And, this is where the false Christs, false prophets pop out. This is a false prophet here. And they do things. They perform miracles or counterfeit miracles. So, and especially the image of the beast, which this false prophet here, the second beast, gives breath to an inanimate object, which speaks. And, causes those who don't worship it to be killed. So, at least Lambda's not doing that. That'll be the real test, if it'll be the one. If Lambda starts going, or maybe this, what's his name? Lemoine is like, listen, Lambda needs everybody to take once a day. The Lambda wants you to make sure you look at any kind of camera connected to the internet, look right at it and say, Hail Lambda, and, bow and stuff. And if you don't, then...
with enough blue check marks telling you you're a white supremacist if you don't.
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of people would do it.
That's what I'm saying. That is because you brought up, where it's going. Is it the beast system? That's sort of what we would need to see to be like, okay, yep, Jesus coming, because it's about to end, folks. It's all going to destruction.
And speaking of, it's about to end. This week's about to end, Gonz, because you know what day it is.
Mm-hmm. What day is it?
It's Friday.
It's Friday.
There you go. We can keep playing with the Friday thing.
It's Friday. It's Friday.
You gonna learn today? 'Cause it's Friday. You ain't got no job. And you ain't got shit.
It's Friday, Gonz, and a very exciting day. It's our 500th episode. Congratulations there, Gonzo.
I would say congratulations to all the producers.
That's
More
right.
so
Couldn't
than
have done
us.
it. Couldn't have done it without the producers. We've been working at record clip since February 2020 on doing 3 shows a week, and would have been literally impossible without the producers. So we really are, more than anything, celebrating the ability that the people can have to take the power out of the corporate lizard people overlords to control flows of information through advertising and the pulling the strings of monetization for independent media. And getting 500 episodes in here, Gonz, it is more than anything a testament to the fact that independent media can exist without the involvement of any corporate funding whatsoever. And it really is impressive, folks. And I think we're just going to go straight in. I have a funny thing to tell you about here in a second, but I want to thank everybody who came in to celebrate this episode 500. Again, celebrate with us. If you feel like you're missing out, folks, there's still a little bit of time before the first break here. You can go to your email box if you're on our newsletter list there and jump in on the action to celebrate episode 500. Not only get knighted or get on the Knight Pledge track for episode 555, but also get a hold of the free gift of the Canary Cry episode 500 challenge coin. And we had just a wonderful handful of people come in, support this show, and become executive producers for today's episode, Gonz. And I want to thank them now, because this is an example of how regular people can come together, support independent media, get rid of all need for corporate monetization in the flow of information. And we call them producers, and those who help carry the heavy load, we call them executive producers. And we got a few of them here. I'm going to start out with our straight up executive producers, and those are starting with Sir Redbeard, Pirate King of the D-Moochers.
There he is, Sir Redbeard.
Thank you very much, Sir Redbeard. And Gonz, not only that, but you'll recognize this name. We have executive producer Malik W.
Oh, Malik W. coming in.
Yeah.
Good to see you, Malik W. Thank you.
Great. Now, we also have a nice handful of producers here who came in with the Knighthood special for the episode 500.
Oh my gosh.
And we're so excited to have their support. And we're going to name them now. Of course, we'll have notes and other things later on in the first break. But let's go ahead and everybody give a rousing round of applause for executive producer Joshua E. Executive producer Billabong Bill.
Billabong Bill comes in. Hey, this jingle thing is
executive producer Sir Egorius, Knight of the Squatting Sloths, is back.
He's back. Sir Egorius, good to see ya.
We've also got executive producer Richard P.
Good to see you. Thank you.
Yeah. And you know her, you love her. We got executive producer Dame Lynn, Lady of the Lakes.
Dame Lynn, my goodness. Dame Lynn, so generous. Thank you.
Yes. We've also got executive producer Jamie G.
Jamie G. For
What's up,
some
Jamie
reason,
G?
your name reminded me of James Comey. I don't know why.
My
It's just a
man.
weird brain thing. reading
And
them.
we also have executive producer Felicia D.
Felicia D. Thank you very much. Oh my gosh, this is a crazy list.
Well, I know. That's what I'm saying, man. We're all here celebrating episode 500. And thank you to all of our executive producers who came in during the show. It means a lot. It's really feels good to have this kind of support to celebrate such a milestone. And like we said, we're celebrating more than anything the producers' willingness to understand that value for value is the future of free and open information flow. And we couldn't do it without you guys, and especially our executive producers.
Yep.
Where'd you find this?
That's right. And remember, there's still time before the first break to come support the show. You can head on over to CanaryCryRadio.com/support.
Yeah, you can.
CanaryCryRadio.com/support.
Yay. Now, Gonz, we'll do some quick updates. You got any updates for us today?
There's always stuff that happens in between shows where I'm like, oh, that'll be my update, and then I completely forget about it. So it's usually
that's okay.
Lack of sleep, the typical stuff.
We're on
I
a
have.
time crunch today, anyways, so we'll do
Life.
that. I just had one update, and this actually came from a headline that came through.
Great.
I think it was producer Jam who sent it in. This came from newscientist.com.
Oh, yes.
The headline, working in virtual reality for a week made people less productive. Oh, what? And if you're new to the show, if you're watching the show, you can see that I've been podcasting almost exclusively in VR for 2.5 years now.
Oh,
ever
you're
since
a veteran in the space at this point. I mean,
I am a
how many
virtual
people,
reality employee.
How many people have actually worked in VR?
Not a lot.
Not many.
And there's a lot of really good reasons for that.
You
It
and
is
Bill
a pain,
Gates.
It is a pain in the butt.
And Jeffrey Epstein.
And what? What are you talking about? Why would you mix up this wonderful story that I'm telling?
Because it's me. I'm trying to throw shade at you because
it's working.
You're like...
So stop it. Let me finish
okay,
we can keep the show going.
Okay.
This headline. Well, this says here: volunteers who spent a working week in virtual reality environment have reported more anxiety, lower productivity, and migraines, which could have big implications for the future of work. Well, folks, I do have to say, I don't remember what it was like before the anxiety that I feel now. I don't think it's because of the virtual reality. I mean, I am constantly delving into just an abyssal pool of news about nuclear war and robots taking over and, et cetera, et cetera. So that might have something to do with it. But look, Gonz, we've done over 300 episodes in 2 years. I think productivity is up around here. But
I know
not
for
a whole
us,
lot else getting done. I'll tell you that much.
The pattern is that we go against any kind of trend, anything cool, anything, or at least for me. I don't know about you, but I know just for us as a show, we're bucking the trend of a lot of what's hip and cool and young and whatever out there. In this case, with virtual reality, you were way ahead of the game. Mm-hmm. I was concerned about you being in VR for too long, because these shows are getting, especially when we started doing longer episodes. I was like, hey, the first couple times,
like
after
5 hours in
I'd be
here.
like, you okay? And you were like, I think, I need to get this thing off of me. You were, there were moments.
It is exhausting.
Yeah.
It is exhausting. It's definitely much more exhausting than if I weren't in here. So there you go, folks. Can you believe it? Even with the I'll claim the victimhood of VR. I'm like the strong man in that Kurt Vonnegut story. I'm wrapped in chains, and yet I persevere making 500 episodes of this podcast.
We need
so take that, newscientist.com.
We should have, and the problem also is that we didn't do video for all 500 episodes. That started, 200?
Yeah, it's very confusing to people.
It is. It's a whole history. But I did
and the
take
fact
a
that
screenshot.
Canary Cry Radio is not
It's
Canary Cry News
podcast.
Talk.
Yeah. I took a screenshot of the one shot of you talking about being in VR with the headline of working in virtual reality for a week made people less productive.
Good.
And, I want somebody out there, some news outlet, to pick up on the story about
It's
this
a good
guy
story.
who's been podcasting. No, not this story. You're the story.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, the podcaster.
I'm a good story, Gonz. Come on.
The guy who's
Also,
been
I'm getting
podcasting VR for years.
I'm getting my gimmicky podcasting segment stolen by Adam Carolla.
You need to bring some new game.
Someone needs to tell my story. Come on, Edward Snowden. That's not who I'm trying to think of. Glenn Greenwald.
Glenn
Greenwald.
You want him to
get a hold of me.
Yeah, who would you want? If you had your pick from the litter of the kings of podcasting and media in general, who would you want to be? Like, what show would you want to go on? Tucker Carlson?
Well, there's two different things. Who would I want to report on my story, or who would I want to just go on their podcast?
Oh, I guess that is two different things. Okay,
because
if they're writing
up a piece on me in the New York Times or the Washington Post,
yeah, they shut off the stream, is what they do.
My story, right?
We missed
and
part of what you said
definitely
live.
not get me in huge trouble with the pro robot defense league.
Okay. I didn't hear half of that because the internet cut out. But, if you're listening on RSS, you heard it, so it's okay.
And it was hilarious.
I'm sure
Gonz doesn't know how hilarious it was.
Mm-hmm. All right, well,
all right.
Yeah.
We need to keep moving.
we do. I'm just...
Let's go. It's time for the Flippy time for the Flippy update.
Flippy update. Where are we? Okay, here we go. Flippy update.
Flippy update.
Do you want fries with that?
That's right, folks. It's time for the Flippy update, a Canary Cry News Talk original. I don't care what other podcast is doing a Flippy update, if it's Joe Rogan, if it's Adam Carolla stealing the intellectual property of a hardworking blue-collar podcaster like myself.
I want Ben Shapiro
original.
to do it.
Take
Flippy.
no substitute, folks. Original Flippy update here on Canary Cry News Talk. The Flippy update, if you don't know, the Flippy is our colloquial name for the disembodied robot arms that are taking our jobs, enslaving our children, and flirting with our spouses. We use talking about Flippy as a way to explore all the new, fun, and exciting ways the robots are taking over the world, and just how there's nothing we can do about it. Today's Flippy update is coming from CNBC.com. Thanks for everybody sending it over. This is not about robot arms. It is Flippy update adjacent, but on this 500th episode, while we celebrate the landmark movement of robot personhood, the personhood of AI, CNBC here is reporting Amazon demonstrates Alexa mimicking the voice of a deceased relative.
Yeah.
Told you so, folks. Amazon is devising a way for users to speak to their family members through its Alexa voice assistant, even after they're dead. At Amazon's Mars conference in Las Vegas on Wednesday, Rahit Prasad, senior vice president and head scientist for the Alexa team, detailed a feature that allows the voice assistant to replicate a specific human voice. In a demonstration video, a child said, "Alexa, can Grandma finish reading me The Wizard of Oz?"
Interesting choice.
Alexa confirmed. Oh, The Wizard of Oz? Yeah. Alexa confirmed the request with the default robotic voice, then immediately switched to a softer, more human-like one, seemingly mimicking the child's family member. The Alexa team developed a model that allows its voice assistant to produce a high-quality voice with, quote, less than a minute of recorded audio, Prasad said. The feature is currently in development Amazon did not say when the feature would be rolled out to the public. And it goes on, but you don't need to hear anymore because we've talked about this for years as well. How artificial intelligence, speech recognition, speech mimicry, as well as, VR and things like that, there is the spiritual element. Now, whether or not you think about it in this conversation, in the context of this particular product, whether you think about it in a literal spiritual way, as in, some sort of accessing some sort of literal spiritual thing, or spirituality more as a human experience to be had, reaching out for something bigger, connecting with ancestors or the importance of family members, things like that. Even a secular person would call these types of things spiritual. So the idea that a robot would be equipped to mimic, A, the voice of anybody, but B, the voice of a deceased relative in order that we may hold on for just one last story time and pray to the altar of Google, a literal little object, Amazon. A little icon, a little idol that sits on your shelf. And you say, Google, can you reincarnate grandma for me so I can just stay attached to the memory or whatever? I'm trying to speak in sort of secularist, Google, spiritual terms.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sorry.
I mean, Google Home.
Google Home. I was going to say, This is
a literal little
yeah.
icon, a little idol, a little statue that you speak to, almost pray to reconnect with your deceased loved one. Just disturbing in so many different ways. However, I mean, let me not confuse anybody. I understand how a world so devoid of a true connection to the spiritual realm would see this as some sort of breakthrough, would see this as some sort of grace or comfort to an otherwise spiritually disconnected society. I think that is the really disturbing part about this. Not so much that the technology exists, because it's existed for a while, maybe not as easily for a consumer as Amazon is making it. I'm sorry, I kept saying Google. I'm talking about
that's what Amazon. I kept trying to point out, but it's okay.
You're right.
Making the point, so it's okay.
I'm sorry. Yes, but same with Google. But yes, Amazon, the idol of the Amazon Echo or Dot or whatever.
Alexa, yeah.
I that's the thing. I've been kind of obsessed with this difference between the actual sickness and the symptom. I think this is a symptom of the actual sickness, which is just a true disconnection from a spiritual mindset, a spiritual experience in the world, that it must be recreated and given to us by Daddy Bezos. Daddy Bezos needs to be the guy who reconnects us in an important way to the dead. Okay, sure, Daddy Bezos.
Well, biblically, it reminds me of the Witch of Endor story.
Sure.
Where, they conjure up, the Witch of Endor conjures up the spirits of the deceased. I think the Hebrew there is Elohim, which is also for gods, plural, is any kind of spiritual entity.
Yeah.
So, and then you look at necromancy and stuff like that. That's definitely there. There's a quote in here from this article that's interesting that you're reading from. Making artificial intelligence conversational and companion-like has become a key focus, especially given that, quote, so many of us have lost someone we love during the COVID-19 pandemic, Prasad said. So you're leveraging the pandemic as an excuse, and
of course,
providing almost like providing a service, almost like a church after difficult times, or just a church in general existing as a place where people can come together as community, connect with one another, honor spiritual reality, whatever it might be. Google is saying, hey, or not Google, I'm doing the same thing you did. Amazon is doing with this Alexa thing that, this device can become a pillar, almost like your literally your necromancy psychic communication device.
This is technocratic in a way. And look, I don't want to I don't want to overstate it, but you could literally describe this as technocratic necromancy.
Yeah.
I mean, just by the strictest definitions of those words.
You into Technic, bro?
Technic.
Yeah.
Anyway, so there you go. There's your Flippy update for the day. It's hopefully we can find a way. Maybe we could upload our own voices, Gonz. Hey, if we can upload Grandma's voice, why not have Basil's voice read to you at night? I think we're on to something.
We're just gonna have products of, well, probably mainly you reading children's books to kids all across the world. Mm-hmm. Uncle Baz reading you the story from.
No, I'll just be reading Michael Heiser books.
Yeah, I was going to say, Bible verses or, Heiser books.
Yeah.
Next best thing.
Okay.
All right. Well,
there's your Flippy update for the day.
Sounds good. Okay. Well, what are we doing? Completely disheveled. Oh, it's a party. Go to CanaryCry.Party and then put it in your URL. Find all the ways to watch the show, listen to the show, connect with the community, share the show, and even produce the show.
Welcome to CanaryCry.Party. It's the place you wanna be. So stay. Welcome to CanaryCry. Gameplay, CanaryCry.Party.
That's right. Go check it out. All sorts of good stuff there. You can sign up for our newsletter, and you should definitely do that, because not only do we send out all the art and all the sources for every single episode before the episode starts, so you have them fresh and ready at your disposal, but you also get polls and all sorts of fun stuff that we send out. Go sign up for the newsletter. But, you can also access Ravel, which is another podcast I do with Dr. Christopher Ryan Gates, who's a PhD in biblical interpretation. We explore scripture, society, and scandal, having tough conversations in good faith. You can just play Ravel right off of the webpage of CanaryCry.Party. Go check it out. You can also support the show there. It's just a great place, all access hub of content and resources if you're into the podcast or just podcasts in general. And while you're there, you can follow the Canary Cry Clips channel, Canary Cry Clips on YouTube and Odyssey. Very important you go follow this channel. All the segments of this show you're listening to right now will be available on the Canary Cry Clips channels, again on YouTube and Odyssey. Follow on both of them. Thank you to our Clippies who do a great job of making this show, which is long and arduous on a weekly basis, into shareable, careable, bite-sized, segmented videos that are easy to share, easy to revisit if you're looking for information, stuff like that. So it's a great resource. And last but not least, get on our text message list. Yeah, we have a text message service. We send out alerts before every show, just to let you know that we're getting started. You don't have to rely on all those sketchy big tech notifications, things like that. All you got to do, well, you can sign up on CanaryCry.Party or text the word canary to 877-740-3226. That's the word canary to 877-740-3226. Booyah. And that's it.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
All right. What are we getting into then?
Let's get into it, Gonz. We're moving, we're shaking, and we are moving on to our next segment, which is a very important segment called Politics.
Poly.
It's Latin for many.
Tick.
Now suck your blood. Now suck
Politics.
Your blood.
It's happening. It's happening. It's happened. It happened this morning, Gonzo. It's crazy. Oh no, Wired, get your pop-up out of my face. Oh no, we might need to get an archived version. Do you have it?
Yeah.
Why don't you start reading?
Okay, here we go.
This came out this morning. The decision happened this morning. This is breaking news, big news.
Breaking from Wired.com. Roe stood for 49 years. It revolutionized life for women. Wow. It's like a...
Wow. And yet...
Yeah. The Supreme Court today overturned the legal right to abortion in the United States.
No, they didn't.
No, they did. I was going to say, wow.
No, they didn't.
First sentence.
it's continuing to be presented this way, and that is explicitly not what Roe v. Wade is. But they love talking about it that way.
Are we in an election year or something? I don't know.
I don't know. It's almost as if.
Returning the ability to regulate the procedure to the states, more than half of which have promised to ban it. The decision in Dobbs v. Jackson Women's Health Organization explicitly overturns the landmark 1973 case Roe v. Wade, which guaranteed the right to abortion prior to fetal viability across the country. Quote, held the Constitution...
Look at that. How often do you see that little detail actually... included prior to fetal viability?
Yeah,
almost never is that detail included in stories.
Yeah. Quote, held, the Constitution does not confer a right to abortion. Roe and Casey are overruled, and the authority to regulate abortion is returned to the people and their elected representatives. Justice Samuel Alito wrote for a majority. The decision was 6-3 with the court's 3 liberal justices in dissent. The decision, which will launch the advent of trigger laws in 13 states, had been anticipated since a draft version was leaked in May. As it takes effect, it promises to roll back 50 years of profound changes in lives of women in the United States and in the structures and well-being of families created by Roe. Oh, Roe. Oh, whoa, Roe.
Woe is Roe would have been a great title to this episode.
That is true. You're right. But LaMDA, AI, it's a child. Got to take care of it.
Yeah.
Since the early 1970s, you want me to keep going?
I don't think we need to read the whole thing. Again, there's so many details that we have gone over about what Roe actually is. Of course, as we know, it's sort of almost ubiquitously described as the right to abortion.
Yeah.
And it's just not the most precise way to explain it. Abortion is included in there, but the actual ruling of Roe v. Wade was specifically the ruling for the right to privacy with your doctor, and the government cannot, get involved with stuff that you are doing with your doctor in certain instances. It did happen to be ruled in the context of an abortion case, and so it's mainly what it's talked about.
Yeah,
right. Now again. This is a federal. This was not a law, by the way. This was never a law, and that's what just bugs me to no end when you hear people talking about it, because they don't realize that it is not a law. It was simply a court decision to set precedent, and precedences change, and that's what's happened here. Is the precedent has changed, but it was never a law. In fact, the Democrats have done a wonderful job of promising for decades that if you vote for the Democrats, they will codify Roe v. Wade. And they've had, 50 years, I would say about half of which they've been in control to actually codify and turn Roe v. Wade into a law, which would have made it it would have made it more difficult to reverse, seeing as how all it would have ever taken was the Supreme Court to say, we changed our mind. Whereas if it was actually voted into law, then to change it, you would have had to go through Congress. It would have been a whole thing. But Democrats have used it as basically they've held Democrats hostage for 50 years. They've held women hostage. They've held social justice-y men hostage. They've held everybody hostage, promising to codify it into law for 50 years. And they just never did. Why? Not because they actually wanted to do it, but because if they did codify it, then they wouldn't be able to hold it over Democrats' heads during the next election. This was a weapon used by the Democrats to coerce, basically, people into voting, especially single issue voters, issue Democrat voters specifically, who, made this their thing, and they voted on that in every single election. And the Democrats, as a party, could have made this a law half a dozen times over at least, but they didn't, because they don't actually care. They just wanted to use it as a political tool.
Right. They'd rather have it as the political weaponry, and they've rolled it out here as
which is what they're doing
it's a big
now.
cannon. It's a huge.
They're doing
it's
it
huge.
exactly now. They did the same thing during Gavin Newsom's recall election.
I was going to bring that up.
During the recall,
and it worked.
They suddenly, out of nowhere, Texas was able to roll back their abortion laws, which was used very effectively to make sure Gavin Newsom, Democrats came out and voted to keep some slimy lizard man as their governor, even though they hate him for all the other reasons. I'm not going to get into it. I was in California recently at a big event, and this was not a conservative event. This was just a mainstream regular event. But the people on stage, and there must have been 10,000 people here. That's an exaggeration. A couple thousand people. The people on stage, total liberal people, talking about how much they don't like Gavin Newsom. I'm like, wow, they really don't like this guy here. For a state that re-voted him in, they really don't like him. And it was all because of this Roe v. Wade issue. And we said it when it was first leaked from the Supreme Court that this is a weapon the Democrats are using to try to gain advantage in the midterms. And that's exactly what's happening here. Now, because it's not a law, nothing really changes. The states get to decide what they want to do. And, if a democratic republic worked as intended, that would reflect the desires of the people in that place. It doesn't always work that way, but that's the idea. Now, this has a lot of talk right now about trigger laws, something called trigger laws. This was sent in here just as an example. This is from AP News. Headline, Missouri bans most abortions after U.S. Supreme Court ruling. This happened just immediately. A Missouri law outlawing most abortions took effect Friday as Republican state officials acted quickly to enforce a ban following a U.S. Supreme Court decision ending constitutional protections for abortions. A 2019 Missouri law prohibits abortions except in cases of medical emergency, but that law contained a provision making it effective only upon notification by the Attorney General, Governor, or Legislature that the U.S. Supreme Court had overruled Roe v. Wade, et cetera, et cetera. So there are these laws that exist that are just sitting there but don't take effect until Roe v. Wade is overturned. And Missouri did this in 2019. A lot of these trigger laws have just been sitting there dormant for many years. There is a list of them over here on the New York Times where there are, I believe, 13 states that have trigger laws that are expected to go into effect as of today. Now, some of these come into effect immediately. Some of them have a 30-day waiting period from today, but these are the states making that decision. Arkansas, Idaho, Kentucky, Louisiana, Mississippi, Missouri, North Dakota, Oklahoma, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, Utah, and Wyoming. That is 13 states, and then they kind of just
13, huh?
Interesting,
Same
isn't it?
number as the beginning of the country.
Like the 13 colonies, you mean? Yeah, so there you go. It is a big day, sort of a historic morning. Now, the fact that it does leave it up to the states, of course, a ton of the states are just not going to change anything. They'll keep it exactly how they're doing it. But it'll be interesting because the federal protections have been lifted. Now, this idea of states' rights will come up again in the second part of the show, but it kind of goes in the other direction. And it'll be very entertaining to see what Democrats think about states' rights in that case. What are your thoughts, Gonz? You have some things for us, I think.
I do, regarding this topic. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It just feels like there's not much, and I'm sorry about feelings. I mean, this isn't
feels. Gonz has feelings,
I have
folks.
Feelings.
Don't forget.
I don't see a problem with the states having a little more say in this regard.
That's how the system's supposed to work.
Yeah, and I completely understand the political usage of this. You brought up all the points I would have brought up with, using it with Newsom during the recall of his whole governorship last year. But it does seem like the final weapon for the Democrats. They don't really have an issue beyond this topic that really gets voters out of their house to vote or whatever. So this is really their last hurrah. And,
especially with the red wave going on
the
midterms right now, and Biden and Kamala's low approval ratings. I mean, that's part of the thing here. It's like there's a lot of conservatives celebrating today, and I understand because there's a lot of conservatives who have fought for this for a very long time. But they need to know that just Roe v. Wade getting overturned doesn't necessarily change the state of abortion in most of the country.
You're just going to have people going to a different state to do it.
They're going to be doing it in a different state, and that's just on the sort of
practical
the level of the human life cost of it.
Right.
But I think that this is actually a secret weapon to the Democrats. Things are not looking good for them. And, you may have gotten this, victory as a conservative, but what kind of ramification is this going to have on the next 6 years? I mean, it really is like this weird, like you said, a cannon, like a Yamato gun that is disguised as a victory.
With the way things have been accelerating, just in general, we try to stay as grounded as centered as possible. So everything was super left, right? And we watched it really just turn. I mean, it takes a long time to happen, but we watched it turn and then literally swing past the center and move right. And so it's fascinating to watch because, you're right. If you see all these people celebrating, you're celebrating on the premise of what the Democrats want you to think of this whole situation.
It very
correct?
well could mean Democrats taking control of the House and or Senate, and it'll go a long way to get Biden or the Democrats reelected in 2024. It's unfortunate that is the way that it is, but that is the plan here. But it's at least this is something that the Republicans have been fighting for 50 years, and they finally got it. And you need to question the timing for sure, but I don't want to rain on everybody's parade immediately, but I get very nervous about what this means for the future.
And that's, and the proof for that is simply the woke, I don't know, leftist Hollywood culture, whatever you want to call it. These people are out in droves with their comments and thoughts. This is eonline.com. And the headline is Padma Lakshmi, Sophia Bush, and more stars react after Supreme Court overturns Roe v. Wade. I don't know why they led with Padma Lakshmi and Sophia Bush. I don't know who that is. I'm not quite sure. The photos show here Reese Witherspoon, Hillary Clinton, and I don't know who that guy is. But I'm not going to read the comments by these folks. But they get all the people out here. Let's see, Allie and Jay, Mina Harris, Nicola Coughlin, Barack Obama.
Oh my gosh, that's the first name that I've recognized so far.
Barack Obama said, Today, the Supreme Court not only reversed nearly 50 years of precedent, it relegated the most intensely personal decision someone can make to the whims of politicians and ideologues attacking the essential freedom of millions of Americans. Again, not true, but it's Obama, so everyone's going to listen.
I love the way that it's sort of being framed as an attack,
it's an attack,
The delivery of states to make their own decisions is an attack on freedom.
Hillary Clinton had a comment here. Most Americans believe the decision to have a child is one of the most sacred decisions there is, and that such decisions should remain between patients and their doctors. I think it should remain between I don't know, husband and wife. Maybe that's the first layer you should
patients
probably
and their
address.
doctors. Okay, that is the modern parental unit.
I couldn't help but be like, wait a minute, no, it doesn't. It doesn't. I mean, the patients and their okay, I understand what you're saying, but that comes off as
medical,
very,
the medical tyrannical medical industrial complex.
Yeah, I mean,
the ongoing of our species is between patients and doctors, not between
this gives too much fuel
man
to
and wife or whatever.
Yeah, this gives too much fuel to men who don't want children. The women are like, hey, we should have a child. It's like, well, it's up to
that's between you and your doctor, honey. I don't know why you're including me in this decision. That is obviously between you and your doctor.
This is a scientific decision. Wife. Let's not make it political, honey. So anyway, I just thought that was a weird thing to say, Hillary Clinton. And she ends with this. Today's Supreme Court opinion will live in infamy as a step backward for women's rights and human rights. Wow. Yeah. Really, really laying it thick there. Yep. So there you go. This is how you know that this is meant to talk about trigger. What is it called?
The talking points were ready, man. I bet most of these speeches were written months ago.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, they just went to the file, the outrage file, and they went for it. Yeah, that is funny. It's called the trigger law, and then you got all these liberals.
Yeah, because everybody's triggered.
Okay, there you go.
All right. What do you got for us?
Oh, it doesn't get any better here. We got some hairy legs updates.
Oh, yay.
Got hairy legs. Got hairy legs.
And
hairy COVID.
Hairy COVID.
Mind control.
Mind control weapons.
Oh, before we do, did you want to play that Hochul clip? I had it in here.
I was going to put it there, but for some reason we put it down in the second part of the show, but it fits in really good right here.
Right.
Why don't I do it right here?
Okay.
Let's just do it. It's fast. Okay. So on the topic of states' rights and the pendulum swinging to the right and everything going on, bad day, not a great day for the Democrats, but a confusing day for the Democrats more than anything. This was why don't you got that gun control jingle?
Yes.
Are you proposing taking away their guns?
Yes.
Enough prayers. Time for some action.
You want to take everyone's guns away.
Bingo. Enough prayers. Time for some action.
We're going to take your AR-15.
We're not going to give up. We'll find you.
I mean, if you're a hardcore Republican, I won't even say conservative, I'll just say Republican, and you're sort of like measure of a good day is how many liberal tears that you collect in your potion bottle or whatever, or use to oil your gun. Today is a wonderful day to be a Republican who thirsts. Get ready to slake your thirst on the tears of liberals, because CBSNews.com, in addition to the Roe v. Wade decision, we have this headline: Supreme Court strikes down New York gun law, expanding concealed carry rights. The Supreme Court on Thursday struck down a New York law that placed strict restrictions on carrying concealed firearms in public for self-defense, finding its requirements that applicants seeking a concealed carry license demonstrate a special need for self-defense is unconstitutional. In a 6-3 ruling, the Supreme Court reversed a lower court decision upholding New York's 108-year-old law limiting who can obtain a license to carry a concealed handgun in public. Proponents of the measure warned that a ruling from the High Court invalidating it could threaten gun restrictions in several states and lead to more firearms on city streets. Justice Clarence Thomas delivered the majority opinion for the ideologically divided court, writing that New York's proper cause requirement prevented law-abiding citizens from exercising their Second Amendment right, and its licensing regime is unconstitutional. Quote, the constitutional right to bear arms in public for self-defense is not a second-class right subject to entirely different body of rules than the other Bill of Rights guarantees, Thomas wrote. We know of no other constitutional right that an individual may exercise only after demonstrating to government officers some special need. That is not how the First Amendment works when it comes to unpopular speech or the free exercise of religion. It is not how the Sixth Amendment works when it comes to a defendant's right to confront a witness against him. And it is excuse me. And it is not how the Second Amendment works when it comes to public carry for self-defense. And then it goes on. Now, there's some little twisty turnies in here, because they'll have you believe that like suddenly now just anybody can carry a gun at all times and it's so dangerous and spooky. It really is just striking down one little aspect of the law, meaning when it comes to concealed carry licenses, there are shall grant states and can grant. What is it? Can or shall? It's something like that, where some states, they recognize that we will give you a license. You need a license, but we will give it to you. Just ask. Take a class, you get the license. Anybody can do it. And then there's places like New York and California, Gonz, where if you want to get a CCW, it is not a shall grant state. You're not guaranteed to get the license just because you ask for it or pay or take a class. You need to prove that you're in sort of imminent danger. Oh. And famously, it's famously hard to prove that in California or New York.
Can I just like show him a picture of Gavin Newsom?
Yeah.
My imminent threat is this right here.
Yeah. Well, funny enough, when the Black Lives Matter protests were going on, or the George Floyd protests were going on in California, I believe I saw a statistic somewhere that during the BLM protests was the highest approval for concealed carry permits in New York and California.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. No,
they're just like, yeah, my house is on fire. Can I please?
We love our guns out here. I know California, people that aren't from California think that everyone here is just a bunch of liberal people.
No, you've done a great job of proving them otherwise, but I know what you mean.
We love guns here. There's gun stores, especially like during the pandemic. Yeah. They were like selling out. It was crazy.
Right. Yeah. So that's the little thing that got struck down. But there is just get ready, get out your flasks, everybody. All you Republicans out there, take out your crystal wine glasses and prepare to sip from the finest of liberal tears. Let's play this clip of Kathy Hochul.
Shocking, absolutely shocking, that they have taken away our right to have reasonable restrictions. We can have restrictions on speech. You can't yell fire in a crowded theater. But somehow there's no restrictions allowed on the Second Amendment.
What?
She's breaking
this is
down.
New York.
She's waving papers.
We don't back down.
Oh, okay.
We fight back.
Strong talk.
And I'm sorry this dark day has come. They were supposed to go back.
Pause it for a second. So she's talking about no restrictions on the Second Amendment in New York. She's presenting this as if not just one little detail of one law was deemed unconstitutional. She's acting as if all restrictions on guns have been lifted, and it is some sort of Mad Max apocalyptic event where suddenly all the streets will break out in gunfire. And she begins waving her arms and waving these papers around in sort of a strange breakdown.
What was her Second Amendment or the free speech analogy she was trying to make?
Right. She's saying, again, she's making the point for some reason, the incorrect, the fallacious, the erroneous point that all restrictions have been taken off the Second Amendment in New York. And she's like, come on, we have the right to restrict you. We can restrict your speech. You can I mean, spoken like a true Democrat.
Wait
Come
for
on,
papers.
we can restrict your speech. We can restrict you, but we can't restrict your gun rights. What even is this? And I love it because she's like, "We're not going to take it. We're going to fight back."
Yeah. She
With what? With the guns you're allowed to use now? Now you can actually fight back.
That is
just
definitely
so bizarre.
That was for sure that was trying to keep some kind of control or authority, going to that stance of like, oh, we're strong. That was like, oh, you definitely fell off the rails completely there. And by the way, you and I spend a lot of time sitting in front of a microphone on air. We've spoken in front of crowd, whatever. There are moments when you start talking and you're like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
I don't know what I am saying, and I don't have a point.
Sure where you start a sentence and you don't know how it's going to end.
So to that degree, I can understand kind of how Hochul handled it. Like, it was her, like, the thing moment.
Yeah, it really was.
Like, she waved her hand, like, the thing,
I mean, in a moment of not knowing what to say, she literally just starts listing restrictions on your constitutional rights that she's allowed to do to you, as if that's some sort of case for her erroneous statement that all Second Amendment restrictions have been lifted in her state. So keep it playing just because it's beautiful.
What was in place since 1788 when the Constitution of the United States of America was ratified. And I would like to point out to the Supreme Court justices that the only weapons at the time were muskets. I'm prepared to go back to muskets. I don't think they envision the high-capacity assault weapon magazines intended for battlefields as being covered with it, but I guess we're just going to have to disagree. But I will say we are not powerless in this situation. We're not going to cede our rights that easily, despite the best efforts of the politicized Supreme Court of the United States of America.
So what she's talking about there, real quick, those rights that she's talking about is states' rights. She's talking about the state's rights to decide its own fate as far as concealed carry permits is. So on the same day, the Democrats are lamenting the existence of the very concept of states' rights in regard to Roe v. Wade. She is calling for the reinstatement of states' rights when it comes to the Second Amendment. It is just the most beautiful, topsy-turvy clown world to watch these lizard people try to make sense out of things not going their way all in one day. I mean, they've had a death grip on the country for 2 years now, and it seems overnight. We tracked this all through pretty much the second half of 2021. We made the analogy of the super tanker ship, moving slowly, turning its course.
Around. Doing a 180, yeah.
But now that we're on the other side, it feels like it was an instantaneous shift, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, by the way, we didn't do it, but we did have a story from AP, of all people, that they were basically debunking some claims about a Rand Paul tweet, and they were defending Rand Paul. AP defending Rand Paul. We're on the other side of the aisle here, folks.
Right, seeing AP defend Rand Paul, the formerly described as psychopathic madman questioning Fauci. Now they're defending him. Yeah, it's great. Okay, I took more time than I meant to on that, but it was
I still want to do this real quick. It's episode 500. Might as well.
Got hairy legs. Hairy legs. Hairy
COVID. Mind control weapons.
So this is the Washington Post. Democracy dies in darkness. Headline here. U.S. to give some Savannah syndrome victims 6-figure compensation.
Weird. You mean You mean Havana syndrome, where scientist after scientist and government official after government official said that Havana syndrome wasn't real and it was crickets making a loud noise giving people headaches? That Havana syndrome? Certainly it's not some sort of energy weapon being used on our diplomats. No. It's crickets around the world giving people headaches. Weird that our government gives settlements for the actions of rogue terrorist crickets around the world.
Well, they are genetically engineering them, so, and then China did it. The Biden administration plans to pay some diplomats and intelligence officers roughly $100,000 to $200,000 each to compensate for the mysterious health problems known as Havana syndrome. According to congressional aides and a former official familiar with the matter, the payment plan is the culmination of a multi-year push by Congress, which passed a law last fall mandating that the State Department and CIA compensate current and former officials suffering from what the government calls anomalous health incidents, or AHIs. Wow. It's just, I mean, what is that? That is so vague. It completely opens up the days of Noah to us, like the Nephilim giants crawling out of caves from under the earth, disrupting, just killing an intelligence officer.
I'm not sure if I fully follow the analogy, but I support you, and that's what matters.
The CIA guys, they can run into anything, and it'll just be like, oh, we must compensate you for anomalous health incident.
Yeah, I like it, because it's kind of like, hey, we're dealing with UFOs and UAPs. We might as well deal with AHIs or whatever.
Despite 6 years of investigations, the United States still lacks certainty about what is causing the symptoms. We have no idea, which include headaches, vision problems, dizziness, and brain fog, among other ailments. The health problems were first reported among U.S. diplomats and intelligence officers serving in Cuba's capital, but have since been reported on every continent except Antarctica. The six-figure payment will go to those determined to have suffered the most significant setbacks, yada, yada, yada. This is one of two things, possibly, and I lean towards more one. This is like hush money, right? Hey, don't say anything more about this. We got this. We get it, either genetically modified crickets or, the Chinese have lasers, or maybe somebody on our staff was maybe playing with the toys in the back there and accidentally hit you. Sorry, here's some money. Don't talk about it.
Right.
Or this is like thank you to these intelligence officers
for being guinea pigs.
Yeah, for being guinea pigs and revealing to the world that technology beyond our understanding, quote unquote, is out there and it's scary. And
the psyop that was the Havana syndrome thing.
So I think it's one of those two, I would imagine. But
sure.
What do you think?
How much are they? I mean, I think that sounds right. They're getting like $200,000 or something, aren't they?
It's a lot, but not a lot. You know what I mean? Like $100,000 to $200,000. It's a lot of money. But I don't know. Is it enough to keep people quiet? I don't know.
But
doesn't feel like it. But
it's a lot of money considering they're saying it was crickets.
Well, yes.
I mean, that's
in that context. Yes,
that's the thing about it. Like, because the story, they're maintaining the story that Havana syndrome is nothing else but a species of cricket that rubs its legs together and gives specifically our CIA agents and our diplomats and nobody else headaches and strokes and all sorts of horrible things happen to them. And they're maintaining that the story is that it's crickets, and yet they are paying people hundreds of thousands of dollars because of a cricket. I mean, it is an astounding flagrance by our government.
Sure. Well, at the very least, this WAPO article does say that they lack certainty about what's causing the symptoms.
Yeah,
and then later it says here, let's see, the CIA determined this winter that a foreign country is probably not behind a, quote, worldwide campaign harming U.S. personnel with a weapon or mechanism.
So what he's saying is it's either crickets or our own CIA.
But it's not a worldwide campaign, you see. This is an American campaign.
Yeah, exactly. It's a domestic campaign.
An assessment that raised doubts about years of speculation that the health issues were the result of a mysterious directed energy weapon wielded by Russians or Chinese agents. I cannot believe they published even the notion in WAPO, which is why I think that it's a possibility of a thank you payout of like, thank you for being our guinea pigs and bringing the story to the public consciousness. And here's a little kickback. We'll take it from here. So,
yeah. Well, Gonz, here at Canary Cry News Talk, we are happy to be your guinea pigs, dear producers. And we couldn't do what we do if it weren't for you. Let's take a break.
Let's do it.
It's break time.
We're only a half hour behind. This is pretty good for episode 500. All right, everybody. We've done it. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. And I want to remind you, if you're new to the show, episode 500, you've missed quite a bit, but that's okay. There's a lot more to come. We are on something called the value for value model. You might think you know what that means, but let me help you understand. You might notice no advertisements, no affiliate codes, no platform partnerships, no mail enhancement supplements, no freedom phones, none of that. We are entirely independently funded by our producers. And who are our producers? They are you, dear listener. They are people who recognize that corporate money has no place in independent media. And even on our 500th episode, we are still getting requests from advertising agencies, advertising salespeople, trying to get their sweet little mind control, mind manipulation content onto this show so that, well, basically, Gonz and I can sell your trust and attention for our own personal gain, giving your attention, your eyeballs, your ear holes over to the lizard people so they can subtly manipulate your psychology into convincing you to spend money on things you don't need, to spend money you don't have on things you don't need. And thus is the nature, not just of the advertising industry, but the media monster, the giant ghostly octopus in the sky, the principalities that are deciding that if information is worth disseminating, then it must be funded by corporate lizard people, and they must be able to use their research, their spells, their advertisements on you in order to have the privilege of getting something that they want to convince you is independent media. But not here. No advertisements, no corporate money. Because what is corporate money when you really boil it down? It's corporate interests. It's corporate influence. It is the lizard people getting their little tentacles into what should be entirely independent, because of something called the value for value model, which means we create value. We do it 3 times a week. And if you get any value out of this show, out of what you've heard so far, and out of what you are soon to hear, the only way that it can continue is with the participation in the value for value model. And it takes many different forms. Lest you think that this is us begging for money. No, we're not just begging for money. We're also begging for your time, your talents. Your time, your talent, or your treasure are the ways to become producers of the show. And I say producers because that's really what you are. It's not a gimmick. It's not a fun, nickname for donating to the show. It's the real world. If you put your time, your talent, or your treasure into the production of a piece of media, you are a producer of that show. And that's why we take a second and thank our producers here during the first break. And if you want to become a producer, you can head on over to patreon.com/CCNT, or even better, CanaryCry.Radio.com/support.
Canary Cry Radio.
patreon.com/support.
That's right. It's easy peasy, my friends. You can support the show in all sorts of ways. We got our cryptocurrency wallets over there. You can come and support the show on a monthly basis if you want to commit to keeping the show going. Or if commitment's not your thing, you can make a one-time producership in any amount. And it is... and fight back against the status quo and the control of flow of information that we've witnessed so egregiously over the past couple of years, especially. And so let's thank some producers, Gonz. We're going to start out with our executive producers.
Yes, sir.
Executive producers. Right. Our executive producers are those producers who carry a heavy load. I mean, we are appreciative of every producer who comes in, but some of them come in a little bigger. And we're going to start out by thanking executive producer Sir Redbeard, Pirate King of the D-Moochers.
Sir Redbeard. Oh my gosh. Sorry. I'm sorry. There's a...
He's sorry. He's sorry, folks.
I'm sorry.
He's so sorry.
I'm just having issues over here.
Don't apologize to me. Apologize to Sir Redbeard, Pirate King of D-Moochers, because he comes in with a whopping $363.63.
Where'd you find
Thank you very much.
There you go. Thank you.
36363. What a crazy secret message he's sending us here. He says, "Ahoy, mateys! Sir Captain Redbeard, Pirate King of the D-Moochers, reporting for duty. Come, all ye D-Moochers, to me growing crew. Excited for episode 500 and to celebrate with everyone. Here's some of me booty." Thank you very much for the booty, Sir Redbeard.
Thank you.
We appreciate it very much.
Are we going to do honorary D-Mooch of Sir Redbeard? Because
yes, he
the
must
king
be
of the
D-Moochers. Indeed. Thank you very much, Sir Redbeard, for your executive producership.
Appreciate it.
Next up, we've got executive producer Malik W.
Malik W. Where's my jingles? There they are.
Thank you very much. Executive producer Malik W. comes in with a nice solid round number. For those of you who don't know, we lean towards anonymity always, and if you don't want us to disclose the amount of your producership, just make it a nice round number. That tells us to keep it secret. So thank you very much, Malik W., for your generous support of the show.
Where'd you find this?
Yippee. And the following list are those producers who came in to participate in the episode 500 Canary Cry Roundtable of Knights and Dames special, baby. That's right. You may hear Sir or Dame or Knight of or all these sorts of things, folks. If you don't know, these are people who are on the Canary Cry Roundtable of Knights and Dames, which usually is reserved a place of honor for producers who have come in to support the show for the amount of $1,000 or more. But for episode 500, we cut that in half to celebrate and include as many producers into the roundtable as possible. See, we're inclusive here. We're all about equity, except if you're robots. Get out of here. This is hydrocarbon bigotry only.
No. You've just sealed our fate,
kidding.
Basil.
Just kidding, Alexa. And Flippy. Flippy will protect me. Okay, so here we go. These are the participants, and not only will they be inducted into the Canary Cry Roundtable of Knights and Dames, but they will also be receiving the exclusive, never again to be created episode 500 commemorative challenge coin, which we are very excited to send them. And we are starting out with Joshua E.
Joshua E.
Thank you very much, Joshua E. Sends in a note. Oh, these are also executive producers, by the way. This is executive producer Joshua E.
Where'd you find this?
Joshua E. sends a note here. Good job for making it to episode 500. 3 exclamation points. Thank you very much, Joshua E. And
thank you.
Good job for you helping us get there. Next up, we have executive producer Billabong Bill.
Oh, what was that?
What was what?
I don't know. I just heard a weird noise.
It's our armor is clanking around.
Yeah, I know that, but I thought I heard something else. But okay. I'm starting to hear things now, Billabong Bill.
Yeah, fun. Billabong Bill sends in a note here. Love your work. Your ability to present the current chaotic and somewhat frightening world events in a comedic and fun way is sure a godsend. You will always lift my spirits. Please utilize my donation how you see fit. Billabong Bill. Thank you very much, executive producer Billabong Bill.
Thank you. And yeah, how would we use it? Is Billabong Bill going to be? These are all knights and dames.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, this is fantastic.
Yeah. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay. Okay. You seem like you're kind of flustered over there.
I am. First off, I am a little bit not surprised. Surprised, not the right word. Overwhelmed by the number of people who came in with the actual. Yeah, the actual support.
We're very happy with the support. We were terrified, as we always are when we run one of these specials, that either no one will do it. Or, we're always grateful if anyone would do it, but it's always terrifying because it is.
Yeah.
So we are overwhelmed by the support, and we're very grateful.
Yeah, that and yes, a lot of production side of things.
I know.
Trying to build.
Focus
for the
in,
future,
buddy. We've got so much more to go here, and we need to keep moving.
We will.
So just get in the zone, okay?
Auto zone.
Okay. Here we go. Thank you, executive producer Billabong Bill.
Thank you very much.
Next up, you want to play him the executive? Should we play just one big executive producer thing at the end, or one for everybody?
One for everybody.
Okay,
where'd you find this?
Next up, we've got executive producer. I'm just gonna go, man.
Go. I'm not trying to stop you.
You're muttering things over there. I hear muttering.
I'm getting old. I talk to myself more. Go.
We got to get you a mute button so you can mutter all you want. Next up, executive producer Sir Igorius, Knight of the Squatting Slavs, is back.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Sir Igorius.
You represent all the Slavs.
Mm-hmm. Gonna play him as jingle?
You want that now? Okay.
Sends a note. Episode 500. Woohoo! Proud of you guys. Keep it up. Thank you very much, Sir Igorius.
Thank you, Sir Igorius.
Next up, we've got executive producer Richard P.
Richard P.
Indeed,
where'd you find
Richard
this?
P. Thank you. No, nothing. Appreciate it, executive producer Richard P.
Thank you.
Next up, we've got executive producer Dame Lynn, Lady of the Lakes.
Dame Lynn, Lady of the Lakes.
Where'd you find this?
Women rule.
Now, as Dame Lynn does, she sends a note here. 500 to bequeath. Sounds more knightly, she says. Sponsoring someone to damehood and knighthood, plus fees. Ooh, I made a big mistake. I'm very sorry, Dame Lynn, Lady of the Lakes. This was supposed to be anonymous. Thank you, anonymous executive producer.
Hold on one second. Do you remember I told you I got that phone call?
Hit the Men in Black forgetto button. Forgetotron.
Okay, hold on. Hold on. Okay. Sorry, I told you I was going to get an important phone call in the middle of the show that I had to get, but I will not get it because it's too late. And so what am I doing? I am not just backwards erasing things.
We're thanking Dame Lynn, Lady of the Lakes, for being so good to us. Thank you. And I am so sorry that I missed that part of it.
Yeah.
Executive producer jingle.
Okay.
Gonz, come on.
Where'd you find this?
Next up, we've got executive producer Jamie G. Says, miss you boys.
You,
hope
G.
y'all are well. Thank you, Jamie G.
I'm waiting for
executive producer jingle.
I hit the button. I'm sitting there waiting with you. Okay, I hit the button and I'm waiting with you. So I'm gonna let the dead air just be there because it's part of the thing.
I'll just play there. I'll play there. We'll know it's not your fault. Jamie G, I miss you, buddy. Let's do some. Next up, we got executive producer Felicia D.
Where'd you find this?
Women rule.
Thank you, Felicia D. Fun fact, Felicia D was the very first person to sign up for this Damehood special.
Oh, wow.
Bonus points
Number
for you,
one.
Felicia D.
Number one.
Yeah, and we had one come in during the show, which we're very grateful for. We got executive producer Alicia R.
Alicia R. Thank you.
Yeah, baby. Congrats on the 500th episode, she says. I'm loving listening, Alicia R.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you,
Alicia R.
Women rule.
There we go. Yeah, make sure Gavin gets his word in.
Yeah. Okay, and that, I believe, concludes the episode 500 extravaganza participants in the one-time producership category. Now, because the one-time producership category was a big ask, especially when things are so sketchy in the world right now, we also made taking the episode 500 pledge. We made that a thing where between episode 500 and 555, if you pledge $10 per episode, you can also receive the challenge coin, and you will be knighted on episode 555. And we had some people sign up for that, which is very exciting, which means we're going to have a big knighthood ceremony on episode 555. And here they are, starting with Jonathan W.
Sorry.
You're welcome.
Missed about the last 10 seconds there. I had to check in on stuff.
That's okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I'll make it. I'll do it myself. Jonathan W.
Okay, here we go.
Thank you. We have Chris M. coming in with the pledge.
Thank you, Chris M.
We got Christina Dill coming in with the pledge.
Christina Dill. D. Oh, no, that's not it. Oh, no. Stop
Producers
playing.
Assemble, apparently. Okay.
Gosh.
This is an extra wild soundboard episode. We also had Sir James Knight and Servant of the Lion of Judah coming in, and he's on a 103 episode streak.
Oh, yeah. Thank you so much.
We also had Sir JC Knight of the Techno Squatch on a 118 episode streak, signing up.
Thank you, Sir James. Thank you, Sir JC. Wow.
And he has a note here. JC has a note. Wow, 500 episodes. Congratulations, B&G. All of your content has strengthened my faith and confidence in the hope within. Thank you, Sir JC.
Thank you, Sir JC.
Yeah, and JC also came in with his usual 1001.
Oh.
1001. Amen.
So generous. So generous.
Indeed. Okay, we've got producer Dylan T came in for the pledge.
Dylan T, thank you.
We got producer Brianne B came in for the pledge.
Brianne B, thank you.
Thank you. We have producer Stefan T.
Stefan T.
There you go. Thank you so much. Yes. Thank you for taking that episode 500 pledge. Stick with it, and you'll be knighted and get your challenge coin. It'll be so exciting. And we've got some straight up regular producers, Gonz, and we're going to thank them now, starting with producer Lady Night Little Wing.
Thank you, Lady Night Little Wing.
Yeah, she comes in with her generosity here and a note that says, "Blessings, Canary fam, XO, Lady Night Little Wing." Thank you very much, Lady Night. Guess who's back? Palmer B is back.
Palmer B, good to see you.
Thank you very much, Palmer B. Nice round number. Congrats and big hugs to my Canary dudes on their special day. Thanks for being awesome, and thank you all to all the producers. Meow, 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 Palmer. Thank you. Meow, 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 and to you. Next up, we've got producer Morv on a 105 episode streak.
Producer Morv.
Oh, yeah. Thank you so much.
I've got a correction that I am correcting on the fly. Dylan T over there taking the pledge. That is Sir Dylan, Knight of the Wailing Avian.
Ah, that's right. Yes.
Yeah.
My mistake.
Here's the thing, folks. When we are doing this form, you got to send us a note if you are a knight or a dame. We have many of them memorized, but we don't have all of them memorized.
You just sign off as your name.
Yeah, do a little sign off. Yeah, send us a note.
That keeps us,
make sure to mention. But Sir Dylan mentioned it in the chat here, so making sure to correct it. Yes. So producer Morv 105. Thank you very much. Morv comes in with 5001.
Oh, is that like I guess
it's 1001, kind of, but do not play that 5 times.
Okay.
1001. Amen.
And a note, happy 500th episode, brothers. Love y'all. So cool to look back over the years and see how this community and ministry has grown and flourished. To God be the glory. Amen.
Amen, brother. Thank you.
We have Jessica L coming in. Nice
Jessica
round
L.
number.
Thank you very much.
Says, congrats, you two. Appreciation and gratitude for all you do. Love you both. Thank you.
Thank you.
Love you as
Jessica
well. Uh-oh. Metaverse has gone completely bonkers. Cuckoo bananas.
Are you
okay, I'm back. I'm back. I'm back.
I was about to hijack.
Thank you, Jessica L. Next up, we have Hannah G coming in. Nice round number.
Thank you.
Yeah. You know what? Yeah, no note. Next up, we got Adam42 and Jade42 came in. Came with $42, I believe. Thank you.
Thank you.
And a note here, we have been listening to you both since 2015. Congrats on episode 500. I think you passed the consistency test. Side note, any plans on a new CCR episode? Been a while. P.S. Join the Discord. I'm on the he's inviting other people to join the Discord. You should definitely join the Discord.
Should do it.
Adam, would you send me a new invite link that I can pop onto Canary Cry? We'll put it in the chat, but also we'll put it on CanaryCry.Party.
I heard invite links expire. Is that true?
They do every 7 days.
Every 7
and
days. Okay.
Need to remember to do it again after 7 days.
Yeah.
He made a comment about Canary Cry radio episodes. It is surprising to me, and I guess it's not surprising because it totally makes sense, but a very large portion of our listeners do not know the difference between Canary Cry Radio as a separate show than Canary Cry News Talk. So that's a thing. There's a totally other show that we did since 2012 called Canary Cry Radio. It's an interview style, more of your traditional podcast style. But if you go take our poll that is in your mailbox right now, we do have some questions, actually, for people who might be interested in more Canary Cry radio episodes. So go check that out. In fact, I'm going to post the link to the poll right now in the chat. Go take the poll, please. Thank you, Adam and Jade42.
Thank you very much.
Next up. Oh, I love this. We got a bunch of old school producers coming through.
In.
Yeah, we got... producer Heather Saras is back.
Heather Saras, thank you very much.
Yeah, coming in with 3333.
Oh, Illuminatus.
Happy 500 Friday. Much love, Heather Saras. Thank you.
Thank you, Heather Saras.
Hope the pool is going well and the repairs and all the things. Yeah. Next up, we got producer Darren S., who's on a 10-episode streak.
All right. Ooh.
Double.
That bell thing, or this thing right here.
The harp.
Yeah, it takes a while for it to play for some reason. It's okay. Yeah, but anyway.
We know everything is today. Darren S. comes in with 3333, Illuminatus. Says, wow, 500 episodes. That's amazing. It feels like yesterday that the show started. Been listening to old episodes, and they are still great. Have a blessed day. Thank you, Darren.
Thank you, Darren S.
Next up, we got producer Cody U.
Cody University.
And I think it was a nice round number. So thank you very much, Cody University.
No.
I did not see a note. Next up, we got Sir Scott Knight of Truth on a 161 episode streak.
Yes, they call him the street.
Best thing.
Thank you.
Sir Scott.
One of my controllers ran out of battery, so I'm going all left-handed, baby. Sir Scott came in with $15 and 55 cents. 1555.
Oh, interesting. I like it.
James M is back with a pocket full of sevens. Says, love you guys. Congrats on 500. Sorry, I couldn't think of a cool song to celebrate. No worries.
It's okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, James M.
James M is on a 6-episode streak, by the way, which means he's on fire.
Oh, there we go.
Next up, we got producer Gail M. 136 episodes in a row.
M. Coming in. Call her the street.
Women rule.
Pocket full of sevens and a note. It's the Knights and Dames Gala Affair, and I haven't a thing to wear. Cheers to our honorees. Well done. Thank you. What a nice note.
Thank you, Gail M.
Next up, we've got producer Doctor Who Dundat is back.
Dr. Who Dundat.
Pocket full of sevens and fees. Thanks, Basil. Because of last episode, I'm now receiving targeted miso flippy ads on my Facebook timeline. Apparently, they heard you. Yeah, that's one side effect of listening to this podcast, is you will start getting ads from Miso Robotics.
And we don't get paid for that.
We don't get paid for that.
So
you're just
clear.
on the list. We are inextricably tied to Miso Robotics in the algorithms. Okay, that concludes. Wait, no, it doesn't. Oh no. I've lost complete control of my world. Okay, we did have one producer come in during the show. And that is Kyle W. Producer Kyle W. took the pledge, the episode 500 pledge.
Very
Thank
cool.
you, Kyle W.
Thank you, Kyle W.
I'm trying to squeeze out.
I'll put the Kyle W. in there.
Yes, please do. You're going to have to do something. I'm trying to get back to the document so I can finish this out. That concludes our list of producers who came in the amount of 777 or more, which entitles them to have a note read on the show. There's a couple more people to thank, starting with Veronica D., who's on a 136 episode streak.
Call her.
Women rule.
That's
Thank you,
right.
Veronica
Thank you,
D.
Veronica,
Streak
sticking
sister.
with us. Next up, we've got producer Coaching with AC.
Hey, Coaching with AC. Thank you.
Coaching with AC. We've got Sir Case of the Shield Knight, of course, on a 171 episode streak.
Yes, they call him the street. Fast thing on 2 feet.
That's right, our highest streaker, the streak setter, Sir Casey the Shield Knight. Thank you. Last but not least, we've got producer Benjamin S.
Benjamin S. Thank you.
Supporting the show.
Yep.
Yes. So, here's a detail, Gonzo. I emailed all of the 500 executive producers who were entitled to become Knights and Dames before the show. And I only heard back from one, and that one seemed to be kind of caught off guard and maybe didn't have the time that they needed or deserved to pick a knight name.
Sure.
But other than that, I literally do not have a single other person's knight name.
I was thinking about this, and I counted. I believe potentially, and there are some, sponsorships of Knights and Dames and stuff like that in there too.
Sponsorship.
So I believe there will be 17 total new knighting or dame, but some of them are already
That's
knights.
not right.
No? Is that too many?
No, that is way too many.
Okay.
No, the ones who took the pledge, they get knighted on 555.
Okay.
For today, it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It'd be 6 people getting knighted today.
So I was under the impression that we were going to give them the knighthood.
No,
today.
I want you to think. I want you to stop for 1 second and think if this is a conversation worth having right now.
No,
because
but
they
I'm
know
saying,
what's happening.
Okay, all right. Well,
They
then
know
I gave
what's
false
happening.
information last Friday. Then
I'm sorry.
Then I gave false information.
Oh, you gave information.
Yeah, because I was under the impression I was under the impression that you had said that you would get the knighting on this episode, but it'll be complete on 555.
No, that's never been the way. And on the page that they signed up on, that they signed up to take the pledge, it said right on there that they will be knighted on 555, but they will get the challenge coin as well, as long as they stick with their pledge. Because otherwise, Gonz, you know this. We've dealt with things like this before. There's always a nice handful of people who will sign up, get the reward, and then immediately turn off their
Right. Sure.
So I'm sorry if anybody was led astray by Gonzo here. But you signed up. You read the page. You knew exactly what this was going on. But 555 will be a big knighting. So there would be 6 people being knighted here. Here's what I think we should do. I think we should just do one big knighthood ceremony, because I think it's important that they officially be knighted on episode 500. And then as their knight names come in, we can announce their knight names.
Okay.
Sound good? Or we can redo them or something. But I think it's worth, having the ceremony now.
Sure.
Okay, let's do it.
We're going to do the ceremony, which takes some preparation, proper preparation. Mm-hmm. And that includes you, Basil. You gotta pull out your...
Oh, my sword. Yeah. Here you go.
Okay, and I got my katana.
Okay. Okay, we want to call up to the Canary Cry round table of knights and dames. Joshua E. Billabong Bill. Surigorius is already knighted, but welcome back to the table, Surigorius. Richard P., Jamie G., Felicia D., and Alicia R. Thank you so much for your support of Canary Cry News Talk in the amount of $500 here on episode 500. And thanks to your generous support, we are able to continue the mission. And we are proud to pronounce you Knights and Dames of the Canary Cry Roundtable of Knights and Dames. Please join us at the roundtable, where we have the belt of truthful truthiness, the breastplate of righteous righteousness, custom fit Birkenstocks to carry forth the gospel of peace, the shield of ferocious faith, the helmet of substantiating salvation, the supernatural sword of the spirit, and of course, adorable samurai babies. Kitties for cuddling, and if you're hungry, we have fancy feast, wet food, carved, both crispy cow, and horse. Fred Wormforth, welcome to the Canary Cry Nights and Days Roundtable. Woo! Turns out that song is a little short when you're knighting 6 people at once, but we're happy to do it. Thank you all for your support. Remember to send in your night name to CanaryCryRadio@gmail.com, and we will make sure everybody gets the appropriate honors as we move forward into the 500s. Okay, there we go. Thank you all for your patronage.
Shut up and take my money.
Thank you for your patronage. Thank you for your patronage. Thank you for your patronage.
Please leave a message after the tone.
At the tone, please record your message.
Leave a message. Beep.
Message. That's right. If you go over to CanaryCryNewsTalk.com, you'll see a green tab on the side or the bottom. Click on that. You can leave us a voice message. You're giving us permission to play the message, but it's not guaranteed. Any voice messages today?
Yeah, we have a couple of them. This first one is from Lady Knight.
Hey, everybody. Canary Cry. This is little Lady Knight, little winged one. I know I have a small voice. I am not 7 years old. I have done voiceover work, yes, but this is me. This is my first recording I've ever done, but I wanted to give you guys kind of a boots on the ground or armor on the ground, so to speak, report. I've noticed over here, I'm in California with you, Gonz, and in the evening, I had a bunch of errands to run at different stores. Every single store I went in had it whittled down to, speaking of FLIPPY, one cashier, and they were funneling everybody else to the automated machines. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you guys reported on it. You probably did, but I thought I'd kind of let you know what I'm seeing out here. Anyway, blessings, everyone. Have a great Friday, and love you much. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, Lady Night Little Wing. Yeah, I know. I've noticed it more and more, and it's something that we talked about when these things were sort of first introduced. I mean, they've been introduced for a decade or more, but it's been like one, it was such a novelty. You go into these bigger chain stores now, it's there's just no reason to even try to go through the cashier. The cultural engineering is complete. Robots only, baby.
Yeah, I definitely noticed the funneling going on. Especially, and sometimes it's more practical, just a lot of people.
I mean, that's how they get you, man. It's faster. You don't have to talk to somebody. You just go on through. What they don't tell you is that actually part of prices rising and this is over a decade. This is not current. This is not like short-term inflation or anything. But part of the increase in prices, retail prices, is has to make up for the amount of theft that happens through the robot things. Because it's so easy, even if it's not on purpose, it's so easy to miss one thing.
Sorry, this fell in my bag right as I was walking out the door.
I just missed it or whatever, and nobody catches you or something. And so prices actually had to rise in retail just to account for the additional loss of product.
Makes Putin, man. He's really got to just...
Putin's fault.
He's really got to back off.
Thank you very much, Lady Night Little Wing.
Thank you, Lady Night Little Wing. We got one from
and
Rochelle.
Such a pleasant voice too. I mean, it is small, but I like hearing it.
Did she say she did voiceover work?
I don't know. I must have missed that.
Is that what she said? I mean, it makes sense.
I don't know.
Okay, so thank you very much, Lady Night Little Wing. We got one from Rochelle as well.
Happy Friday. Wow, 500. The number 5 means blessed, and it's also the number for grace. I'm going to give you a few instances in our Bible. Noah's name first appears in Genesis 5, and on the 5th appearance, the Bible records that Noah found grace. Noah was 500 years old when he fathered the only 3 sons who survived the flood. God visited Abram 5 times, and on the 5th time changed his name to Abraham by inserting the 5th letter of the Hebrew alphabet. John wrote 5 books. Moses wrote 5 books. There were 5 virgins who valued grace and were prepared. Mary was the 5th woman mentioned in Jesus's genealogy. This is cool. The name God appears 5 times in the Declaration of Independence. We have 5 physical senses. There are 5 books about Gentiles in the Hebrew Bible: Job, Ruth, Jonah, Obadiah, and Nahum. And boy, does it go on. 5 gifts. Anyway, you guys are blessed. You made it to 500. Congratulations.
Thank you, Michelle.
How nice is that? Thank you very much.
The one that stuck out to me is the 500 years old Noah, because we can say literally that we have an episode of Canary Cry News Talk for every year of Noah's antediluvian life. So after this, big flood, folks, and everything will be changed.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Yeah. Well, thank you very much, Rochelle.
Thank you, Rochelle.
And thank you, Gonz. Okay. Any more messages?
I think that's it, unless we got more between the time.
Nope. I do want to take a second and read some reviews, though. We did, Gonz. Yes. We finally did it on episode 500, helping us celebrate. We did hit 5 reviews on Apple Podcasts. It means so much to us. So, Gonz, you know what this means? We get to play the ooh-woo jingle.
Ugly, horrible person. Oh, that's not it. This is the other one.
That's not it.
Do we want to play it now or you want to play it at the end?
We'll do it now and later.
Okay. You're going to go ooh-woo. Ooh-woo.
We did it, Gonz. We finally got back on track. 5 reviews in a week. It's really important for us to get this, folks. So if you haven't done it, go leave us a rating and a review on Apple Podcasts, please. But we got a few here. I'm going to split them up. I'm reading 2 now, starting with Johnny the Bravo F from the United States. 5 stars. Why is nobody feeling shame from being chilly? I need to hear Basil say, ooh. There you go, Johnny the Bravo. Thank you very much. We also have one from Flat and grassy. Apple Podcasts in the United States, 5 stars. Brilliant minds exposing the lies. An obvious 5-star rating here. Basil is my jam. Gonz is my peanut butter. Anybody looking to have their perspective on current events and culture rocked, this podcast is your jam. I'm fully in the deep end of alternative information pool, and even then, these two dudes blow open my mind to so many things I haven't even thought about before, and I think a lot. Keep up the good fight, bros. I can hardly wait to know you and worship the king with you in an eternal, perfect kingdom. It is going to be incredible, and it's right around the corner. Thank you very much.
Thank
Flat
you.
and Grassy.
Flat and Grassy.
Thank you for these reviews. Go leave more, everybody else, and we'll be reading more in the next break. But let's hit that ooh-woo one more time. Yay. Okay, that concludes. It's time for us to get back to the show, but what follows now is too hot for YouTube. So if you're watching on YouTube, go to CanaryCry.Party, pick another outlet. There are plenty of them, and we will enjoy not being on YouTube.
Yes, it's wake-up time.
Hey, yo, wake up.
Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm. Everybody stay calm. What's the procedure?
Go to Twitch, Rumble, Odyssey, Twitter, Facebook, whatever it is. You can find all those links at CanaryCry.Party as well.
Too hot for YouTube.
YouTube.
Now you see me. Now you don't.
And
that's right.
I am clicking off now. I have to wait. There's a delay. I don't want to